If you don't think corruption is going on and they're trying to shut me up, then welcome to Fantasy Island. And it's just not me. That's why I talked about what they're doing to Rumble. They're doing it to Elon Musk, for God's sakes. He's one of the richest guys, if not the richest guy in the world. They are shutting down people that are exposing the people in power. I'm just one of them.
This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
I was involved in the highest levels of the secret societies, the Brotherhood, Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, Council on Foreign Relations, Bilderberg Group. I mean, the major stuff. I was with the king, I was with the queen, I was with the prince, I was with the president, I was with the prime ministers, I was with the 4-star generals, I was with the richest guy in Australia, the richest guy in this country, the richest guy in that country. I was on the private jets with them, in the yachts, in their villas, flying around, in the private meetings. Listen, my story is my story. And I decided to leave that life and expose things to you to help improve your life. And in doing so, I was told all hell was going to break loose. Get ready. And this was a road that I made a decision to go down. And many people don't know that the first thing I exposed, when I came out with the American Memory Institute and the home study course Mega Memory, the first thing I exposed was how the Department of Education in America was dumbing down the kids by doing two things. Number one, they were getting everybody on Ritalin. They were trying to get as many kids on the drug Ritalin, claiming that they had ADD, attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And the idea was to dumb down the children, make them illiterate, make them dumb, make them more docile. They were pouring fluoride into the school system's water supply, which dumbs down. The Nazis did this in the ghettos against the Jews to dumb everyone down, to keep them docile so they wouldn't rebel. And this is documented. This is not conspiracy theory. This is very, very documented. Nobody can challenge it. It's absolutely documented. So I exposed the fluoride. I exposed the Ritalin. And then I exposed that they were taking phonics out of the school system and replacing it with the look-see method of reading, which made kids basically incapable of reading, and it would lower their ability to concentrate and focus, making them more docile. When I exposed that, all hell broke loose. And I got sued by the Federal Trade Commission civilly for making undocumented claims about the Mega Memory course, a course that everybody loved. We sold millions and millions of those courses, $450 million worth of courses. We didn't have one customer complaint, and the government had to concede, yes, we don't have one customer that complained. But the government still sued me. We settled that case because I fought back with no finding of any wrongdoing on my part, because I did nothing wrong. No fine, nothing. And we signed a consent decree with no finding of any wrongdoing. But they wouldn't stop, because I wouldn't stop. I went out and I continued to expose corporate corruption and government corruption. And when I wrote the book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, I exposed how the FDA is not protecting consumers. They're protecting the profits of the major drug companies. That quote comes from Herb Lay, I believe his name was, who was the past director of the Food and Drug Administration. He was an ally of mine. He wrote that right on the cover of my book. And I exposed how the government, how the food companies, and how the drug companies all work together to keep you sick. And they're lying to you. They're lying to you about the safety and effectiveness of drugs. They are lying. The studies are lies. The drugs are full of side effects. They cause more problems than they actually do good. There's a lot of good drugs, and surgery does help and save lives, yes. But drugs actually kill more people than the diseases they're designed to treat. And nobody wants to admit that, but that's the fact, that it comes directly from the American Medical Association. I exposed this. And the government went crazy and they sued me again for making false and misleading statements, which I absolutely did not. And I fought and fought and fought. And they settled that case. And I wouldn't stop. And I did my radio show back 15 years ago, the Kevin Trudeau Show. We had over 100 million listeners a week back then. We were on over 700 independent stations, I believe, all around the world. I think that was the number, close to that. We were on the internet. We didn't have podcasts back then. And there were people, they tell me, over 100 million people would tune in each week. And I was exposing what the government didn't want exposed. In addition, I was empowering you by sharing how to use the mind that I learned from the Brotherhood training, how to use my mind to manifest what I wanted in life, and how to raise your awareness and consciousness so you could be happier, be more at cause of your environment, and come out of your trance, awaken, so you could see what was actually happening and therefore be empowered, and go above it so you could actually go through life without getting caught up in life and be at cause of your environment instead of effect. That's empowering people. Government doesn't want that. They want you a slave. And the challenge that I had was I had a big reach. They know, the government knows from my training in the Brotherhood on communication and all the mind training that I had of influencing, that when I talk, people connect. I was with a major producer and director in California last week, and we were hiking together. And he said to me, "You connect with people better than anybody I've ever seen. You're a channel stopper." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "How did you learn that?" And I said, "Well, two things. Number one, it is a gift that I was born with. And secondly, it was cultivated through my training in the Brotherhood, the specific processes that I went through." And he said, "I can see that." He says, "You're a threat. You are a threat to the powers that be." I said, "I know," because I can see it. He says, "I can see why they went after you." He says, "Oh, they're not through yet. They're not through." And most recently, I wrote a book called The Weight Loss Cure They Don't Want You to Know About. The government and the drug companies and the food companies want you fat and obese because fat, obese people are more sick. Sick people get and buy more drugs. Fat people buy more food. So the food companies want you fat because you'll be buying the Doritos and the potato chips and all the crap, and you'll be eating it in the fast food companies because it's all chemically designed to get you addicted, like drugs, by the way. I expose that in the book, how the food is actually produced by chemists to make sure that it actually turns into a drug. So when you eat McDonald's food, you get chemically addicted to it like a drug, and you can't stop, and you get depressed if you stop eating it. That was actually talked about in the movie or the documentary Super Size Me. The guy was eating only McDonald's for 30 days. He goes, "This is the weirdest thing. When I eat the food, I feel euphoric for a little while, but then I have this sense of depression. And it's like I need another hit. I need another fix. I need another McDonald's to make myself feel better, like I need a shot of heroin. Because this is scary." And it was. And it took him months to get off it, to get off the withdrawals. Months. That's how bad it is. I've been in those laboratories, so I know, and I exposed that in the book, Natural Cures. So I wrote the book, The Weight Loss Cure They Don't Want You to Know About, describing the Dr. Simeon's HCG protocol, which is a spectacular way to lose weight and keep it off. And I did nothing wrong. It's a book. It's First Amendment protected. I opened the book and read it on the TV infomercial. Millions of people bought that book, and everyone loved it. As a matter of fact, they loved it so much, they told their friends about it, and their friends bought the book. We had less than 10% of the people ask for a refund. I think it was less than 6 or 7%. One of the lowest refund return rates ever in the history of infomercials because people loved the book so much. If they didn't, they would have sent it back for a refund. As a matter of fact, not only did they get the book, but for just $29, I sent them the hardcover Natural Weight Loss Cure book. I also sent them free the hardcover Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About book, and free the hardcover More Natural Cures Revealed. $90 worth of books for $29. It was unbelievable value. No one got ripped off. There were no victims. None. And the government said, I ripped everybody off. Everybody who bought the book is a victim. The government just lies. That's not what happened. And they said I should be held in contempt of court because I misrepresented the contents of the book. I did not. I read the book. But the court said I did. And you know why? Because I said that the weight loss cure was easy when I did it. I found it to be easy. And they said, you're lying. It couldn't have been easy. We read the book, and we don't think the weight loss cure is easy. I said, oh, you read the book, and you didn't think it was easy. Did you do the diet I described? No. Well, how do you know if it's easy or not? I goes, it isn't easy subjective. I'm not saying that it'll be easy for you. All I said is I did it, and I found it to be easy. How could that be misrepresenting the contents of the book? Because if you open the book, I say that exact thing 28 times, I think it was. I found it to be easy. So that's what's in the book. I'm representing the contents of the book. I'm not misrepresenting. I'm completely, absolutely quoting the book. How is that a misrepresentation? Every attorney that I talked to, the smartest attorneys in the country said, there's something going on here. They found you in contempt when you clearly you weren't. They found you in willful contempt when you clearly weren't. You had everything reviewed by your lawyers. You weren't willfully violating the order. You didn't violate it at all. But even if you did, you didn't do it willfully. There's something going on. There's something corrupt going on. No kidding. And I got sentenced to 10 years in prison for writing a book that everyone loved because I said it was easy. If you don't think corruption is going on and they're trying to shut me up, then welcome to Fantasy Island. And it's just not me. That's why I talked about what they're doing to Rumble. They're doing it to Elon Musk, for God's sakes. He's one of the richest guys, if not the richest guy in the world. They are shutting down people that are exposing the people in power. I'm just one of them. And here we are again. So they ordered me to pay $37 million to the government to give it back to the people who bought the book, who don't want the money because they love the book. They didn't ask for a refund. And I said, well, that's terrific. I got a lot of companies going on right now. The valuation of these companies is probably worth $300 or $400 million, but I don't happen to have $37 million in liquid cash. So let's just work out a payment plan, and in about 2 or 3 years, I'll pay it off. They said, no. We want the money now. Well, I'm glad you want the money now, but I don't have it in the bank. I have a lot of assets. They're tied up. The companies are running. They're operating. They're growing. But we just don't have 37 million liquid right now. It's going to take a little bit of while to get liquid. No. So I said, I'll tell you what, you don't believe me? Appoint a receiver. Have a receiver come in, just like in a bankruptcy, and I'll give everything to the receiver. The receiver can do a forensic audit. They can do a global asset search, proving I don't have the money. I give you the keys to everything, the bank accounts, the whole thing. Take over everything and do what you need to do to get 37 million, but it's not there. And you know what they did? They shut down all the companies. They sold the assets off for pennies on the dollar because it wasn't about the money. It was about shutting me down and stopping me from continuing broadcasting my show at the time, stopping me exposing the truth. They actually burned my books because they didn't want those out. And they collected, I think, $20 million or something million dollars, which is pennies on the dollar. They had assets worth $100 million that they sold for like nothing. They just completely corrupt. And you know what the receiver did? The receiver took $10 million for himself for all the work he did. I think he took 50% of all the money he collected for himself. Corruption. This is what people don't want to hear. You need to hear the truth. And I have been holding back for a long time. People don't know the whole story. So the money went to the government. The government sent the money, they sent checks out to all the people who bought the weight loss cure book. Half the people didn't even cash the check for, they said, we don't want the money. We don't want it. It's crazy. And I went away to prison for 10 years. So I came out, I had a couple suitcases, 2 nickels to rub together, nothing, zero. Zero. You saw the picture of me with sweatpants when I came out of prison. Do we have that picture, Trey?
I'll grab it.
Yeah, grab that picture. Went to prison for 10 years. They wiped out everything. I came out with a couple suitcases. I had, from prison, gray sweatpants, gray t-shirt. I was staying with my friend under home confinement in a 1-bedroom condo. He allowed me to sleep in the living room. Josh Novi, great guy. We had a great time together in a little apartment. I mean, he really sacrificed a lot to let me stay there. It was so sweet of him and nice of him. Great guy. If you could ever get around Josh, he's a great guy. Special guy. And I came out with nothing. And a few people started the Kevin Trudeau fan club to help me so I could buy some toothpaste, some underwear, a pair of socks, because I had nothing. And people became partners in the Kevin Trudeau fan club and made some contributions to the Kevin Trudeau fan club. And the people that ran it as volunteers. And they collected the money and they would send me a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 so I could start getting back on my feet. I could buy some clothes, I could buy some toothpaste, I could get a haircut. Here's me about 2 days after I was released from prison at Josh's house. That's Kevin Trudeau right there, my friends. That's what the government did to me. But as you can see, I was reading a great book, Light on Yoga, which was a beautiful book, which I was studying while I was away, doing a lot of yoga poses and a lot of meditation, experiencing love and oneness, not bitterness. It was an experience. I clean up pretty good, though, don't I? All right, get rid of that picture. That's real guru Kev there. And I came out, and I was, what am I going to do? I don't need to do anything. I've been there, done that, had the Rolls Royces, the Ferraris, everything. Hey, no problem. I'm not attached to anything. And everybody kept on saying, Kevin, please, people were telling me, you're an enlightened spiritual master. You have all this knowledge and wisdom. Share it, share it, share it. I said, fine, I will. It's my dharma. I didn't have to do this. And the fan club began to grow, and I got involved with Global Information Network again, producing the training there. I wrote the Guru Kev lessons, the Science of Personal Mastery course. I did the money processes, the relationship processes, started putting these things together, launching the world's best nutritionals and organics. That's coming out next year. Writing more books, none of which profit me at all because the government says I still owe them money. So when I came out of prison, the government said, you still owe us some money. I said, great, how much? Well, we don't know. Okay, well, how much should I pay you? They said, everything you earn. For how long? We don't know. Just whatever you earn, you have to send it to us. Okay, well, how am I supposed to eat? So the judge said, well, you can live on $3,750 a month. That's what it came out to. Everything else you earn has to be turned over to the government to pay off the debt. How much do I owe? I don't know. Your Honor, I was sitting on the stand and I said to the judge, how much do I owe? I don't know. How much do I owe? I don't know. When are you going to know? I don't know. Are you ever going to tell me? I don't know. Do I just pay you for the rest of my life? I don't know. I don't have any money. The government said, yes, Mr. Trudeau has plenty of money. He has hundreds of millions of dollars hidden someplace. He just won't tell us where it is. Okay. If I had a couple $100 million hidden someplace, Why on God's green earth would I give up 10 years of my life and go to prison, you idiot? Why wouldn't I just written a check back then? If I had hundreds of millions of dollars, why wouldn't I just write a check for $37 million? Do you think, oh, I want to hold on to that, so I'll go away to prison for 10 years? Are you stupid? You had a forensic accountant come in, you said was the best in the world, they could find any asset, and they found nothing. Because there isn't any. I gave all the money away to charities. I gave it to the staff. You guys sold the assets that were worth hundreds of millions for pennies. If I had the money, I would have paid it. I have none. So the government says, Your Honor, Trudeau's lying. He's definitely hiding the money, so put him back in prison until he tells us where it is. How can I tell you where the money is when there isn't any? It makes no logical sense. If I had it, I would have paid it back then. It makes no logical sense. So the judge said, no, I'm not going to put him in prison, but I'm going to let him live on $3,750 a month, and everything else that he earns gets turned over, after business expenses, gets turned over to the FTC. Fine. And that's what I've been doing. And over the last couple of years, I think I paid $3, $4, $5 million, whatever it was. I don't know the exact number offhand. And now we are today. The Federal Trade Commission, the lead lawyer is, I call him the assassin, because he's also going after Jeff Bezos. The guy is a very good lawyer, and I think he's just doing his job. He cannot be this evil as a real person. He has to be just acting in that role. He has to be. I can't imagine that he would be this evil. I really think he's just taking the role that he's been delegated to, and I think he's doing it with some apprehension. But he has to. He has a government job. He wants to take care of his family. He wants promotions. He wants another notch on his gun belt that he got somebody else. And I think that's really all it's about. Because it's not about consumers. It's about punishing me and him winning. That's what it appears. They're saying, Your Honor, Trudeau is not paying fast enough. Excuse me? I just came out of prison. I have nothing. And I've paid you millions of dollars? Who the hell could do that? Who the hell could do that? Unless somebody who has the ability to manifest money out of thin air, like I do. And I'm not paying fast enough? He says, the FTC is going to the court now, and they're saying, you need to put Kevin back in prison. That will motivate him to earn money faster, work harder, make more money, and pay faster. So he has to be in prison in order to get motivated. Well, first off, there is no debtor's prison in America. Not supposed to be. And I am not an indentured servant. I don't even have to do this. I could just say, guess what? I'm retiring. And I don't have to pay them anything. You can't put me in jail not for paying if I don't have the money. And I have to live. And I'm actually agreed to live below the poverty line effectively, which I don't have to either. The law says that I'm only required to pay 25% of my income. But I want to pay this off and get it behind me. So I said, I'll accept living on $3,750 a month. That's it. I'll accept that. And I'll pay 100% of everything I earn. And I didn't have to accept that. I could say no. All I have to pay is 25% of what I earn. But I want to pay this off and get it behind me. But the government now is saying, put him back in prison. Put him back in prison. Put him back in prison. He's violating the order. He's not paying fast enough. He's not paying fast enough. He's not paying fast enough. It's insane. Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is everything they don't want you to know about to improve the quality of your life. Broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 2 days a week now, Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock Chicago time. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to the channel and share these shows with everyone you know.